Hey guys, good evening. Cleaning up some code, working on my key levels indicator, getting pricing out there, including another level that I'm interested in. Um, I want to review a trade, and I want to spend a few minutes here and try to solidify some things for myself, and also share that with you if you're interested. Um, I'm looking at Tuesday morning heading into the New York AM session. I'm going to highlight the 945 model that I'm trading in here. I built the indicator for. I also want to look at a couple points that I think are key with respect to this trade on Tuesday and the trade that followed today, which is Wednesday, August 20th. Um, This is ES here. I think ES demonstrates a little more clearly the phenomenon that I want to highlight here. Some of you may be watching that were on stream this morning, and in the chat, I think I plugged a couple times month open, and before this video is done, I think you'll understand why I have that burned in my memory from some past experience that I have. Before we get to that, I want to talk about this day right here. This day, which would have been Tuesday the week prior. If you'll notice the EQ of this day, if you're not familiar with this indicator, the ICT kill zones and pivots by TFO, marking out the highs and lows of regular trading hours. You have the option to show those EQs too. It's pretty handy. You can also highlight London. You can make your London levels stand out a little bit here, automatically setting the time frames and whatnot. I keep those pulled down because I don't want to clutter the chart. You've got a nice range table that'll pop up here for you in the corner if you're watching range. For me, this EQ right here is key. A lot of times I'm doing this with a fib tool. I'm pulling out here and saying, okay, why hasn't that EQ been revisited? Because in my experience, in my research in the past, these EQs are getting revisited. Um, it's quite rare that one gets left behind. So want to highlight that point here, and then also something that I want to talk through is month open. Coming towards the latter part of August here, we're pretty high above month open, around 400, 400 points, 400 ticks on ES. That's a few ticks for sure. So for me, that's interesting to see the reactions. So let's zoom in a little bit and let's go down 15-minute chart and start looking at this day a little more closely. 5 minute, 1 minute. Here are the days, showing up. We're in between midnight and 1800. I call this a little bit no man's land. I get into that in a little more detail. Here's our 9:30 open. Also, kind of stuck here in this consolidation zone. I don't like to trade unless price gets extended away from these levels. We see a little push down there at the open, taking out old lows, trying to shake a little bit of price action, a little bit of reversal back up. I try to stay uninvolved as much as possible at that open. Zooming back up, looking here at 9:45, just crisscross chop suey applesauce Um, a lot of blood happening probably in this time frame. Now here, key moves happening right here for me. We're taking out Asia highs, London highs, lows getting smacked here. We're above all key levels that are interesting to me. Midnight, 1800, 930, 945. Starting to show some promise for a move here. A lot of people might say, "Well, you've already missed a move." I'm trying to catch it afterwards. I'm trying to stay out a little bit and until something happens, and then see the reaction afterwards. So here we're looking above all these levels. My model will print. I'll be willing to look for a change in structure here based on some key criteria, looking back far to the left of the chart and trying to see if I can find some structure to build on. I think this is a real interesting trade right here. And I'm looking for my model to print and confirm what I'm seeing here. So I believe that that's about to happen right there. So once we get the key components of what's going on in my model, take a little low risk trade right here. I think anybody in the game these days can handle an entry like this. Like I say, above key levels, extended above Asia high, key time frame, macro time frame. Let's get back, zoom out just a little bit. On ES, looking for either a reversal, a quick retrace prior to price action continuing higher. The 945 model will catch that. And also, the 945 model will catch a true reversal. In bar replay, it's a little bit difficult, but because the management of the trade is not as effective as it could be with multiple entries anyway. So here I'll just keep it simple and we'll let this thing play out, and we'll talk about some of these other points that I was mentioning before. So if we zoom back out and we kind of keep our eye here, I'm gonna pop a little line right here just to show us for reference what's happening. Boom. Check that out. It was on a mission to get to that EQ and immediately reacted. I'm going to rewind that just a little bit and zoom in. I think it's so cool that we see this over and over and over again, that these things are happening, that these magnets for price, if they're on our radar, can help me build confidence in what I've got going on and what I'm trying to do in the marketplace. If we're looking at a swing trade here, which I oftentimes am, I like to, keep my effort low. And if I can get in a trade like this and stay in a trade like this, I'm going to do it. Sometimes that means you're going to get retraced. You're going to get pulled all the way back to nothing. But you can also end up with a real monster on your hands. You can add to this trade. You can scale in, scale out, pyramid, whatever you want to do. That's up to you. I just want to highlight this point here that I had on my mind this morning, because you can see we're already working our way into Wednesday here. And where's this price going? Or where did it go? Month open. Let's give that one more little watch, just to highlight the precision. You know, I've watched a lot of ICT videos, and I cringe when I imagine to the tick. But look at this shit. And then price seeks to balance itself right back to midnight open. Right back into no man's land for the next day. All right, guys, I just wanted to highlight that, try to put together a little video. I'm sure we can do that better in the future, but I just want to get this one in the books. Hey, thanks for taking the time. We'll do more.